Everything changed in a matter of seconds. Welcome to this explainer right here on NFL Nexus. I'm your host, and today we're diving incredibly deep into the intense, unseen stakes of the offseason. You know, if you think the most important moves in this league are made under the bright lights of primetime or during the frantic rush of the draft, you are deeply mistaken. I want you to picture an empty facility at dawn. The dew is still fresh on the turf. The stadium is draped in complete, heavy silence. There are no cheering crowds, no cameras, no national broadcasts. This is where the real work happens. The quiet, grueling, absolutely punishing battles taking place right now are what will actually shape the entire league in the coming months. Before we pull back the curtain and uncover what's truly happening behind closed doors in Buffalo and across the explosive free agent market, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below on what you think about today's breaking news. And hey, if you want to take your support to the next level, support the channel by becoming a channel member. Okay, let's dive into this, because the stakes have literally never been higher.
In the NFL, championships aren't won in February. They are forged in the quiet, brutal heat of July. Now, you hear a quote like that, and it's easy to just write it off as coach speak or a training camp cliche, right? But it is a chilling reality. While the rest of the world looks away, waiting for the crisp air of the fall, actual careers are on the line right this very second. We are talking about hungry, desperate rookies clashing with hardened veterans who are literally fighting to keep their livelihoods, to keep their jobs. And then you have these high-profile free agents looming over every single roster decision like a dark, heavy cloud. It is the ultimate pressure cooker. It's an unforgiving, relentless environment where legacies are quietly made or completely silently broken long before the first kickoff ever takes place.
So we need to quickly contextualize the exact landscape we are analyzing today, specifically looking at the Buffalo Bills. They are in the midst of calculating critical, franchise-altering adjustments before training camp even officially opens. And let's be clear, they aren't just tweaking the edges of the roster. They are retooling their entire identity. Why? Because the critics are incredibly loud right now, claiming their championship window is rapidly closing. You've got salary cap constraints biting them hard. You've got core superstars getting older. And they've suffered repeated gut-wrenching playoff heartbreaks against elite rivals that have left deep psychological scars on this franchise. So the margin for error? It is absolutely zero. Every single drill, every single rep out there on the practice field carries the immense suffocating weight of a team desperately chasing a Lombardi trophy before time runs out.
And that immense pressure brings us right to the defensive side of the ball, where a massive passing of the torch is currently underway.
This is one of those crucial, unseen storylines that you absolutely have to pay attention to. TJ Parker, the Bills' rookie number 35 overall pick, he didn't just sit around and wait for training camp to start learning the ropes. No, he actively sought out veteran pass rusher Bradley Chubb. He asked him point-blank where he was training. The answer was the blistering, unforgiving, suffocating heat of Florida. And Chubb, the veteran, told the rookie, "Come with me." And just like that, an invaluable apprenticeship began far away from the media and the cameras. Just look at the sheer physical symmetry between these two men. It's actually kind of crazy. TJ Parker stands 6'3", weighing 263 pounds. Bradley Chubb is 6'4", 268 pounds. Parker is essentially a mirror image of Chubb. Last season in Miami, Chubb posted 8.5 sacks and a massive 14.6% pressure rate. He is a terror. Now, Parker is coming off a 5-sack season at Clemson, which is solid, but remember, the year prior, he was an absolute game wrecker with 11 sacks. If you go back and look at that 11-sack collegiate tape, you see a player with an explosive first step, the incredible flexibility to bend around the edge, and incredibly violent hand usage. This meticulously calculated mentor-mentee relationship in Florida is designed to help Parker reclaim exactly that devastating, explosive form.
But to truly understand the value of this mentorship, you really have to understand the excruciating history of Bradley Chubb. The man has been through absolute hell and back. He tasted immense, incredible success as a rookie back in 2018 with 12 sacks. He looked like the next generational pass rusher. But then came the darkness, a devastating ACL tear in 2019, which is hard enough to come back from, and then an even more horrific triple tear in 2024. We are talking about his meniscus, his patellar tendon, and his ACL, all completely gone. Just try to imagine the absolute agony of that rehabilitation process, the isolated, lonely gym sessions, the endless ice baths, the brutal psychological warfare of sitting in a quiet room wondering if you will ever just walk right again, let alone explode off the line of scrimmage to sack an elite NFL quarterback. The emotional weight of a man who has had the game violently ripped away from him multiple times, choosing to take a rookie under his wing in his 9th year, that is a level of leadership and character you simply cannot put a price tag on.
And while Chubb and Parker are grinding away down in Florida, there is a total structural shift happening back up in Buffalo in the trenches.
The Bills' defensive line is transitioning to new defensive coordinator Jim Leonhard's system. Now you have to understand, this isn't just a simple playbook change. It isn't just learning some new terminology. It is a complete philosophical overhaul of how they play defense. Leonhard demands an aggressive, relentless attack-style scheme. He doesn't want guys just reading and reacting. He wants them penetrating the backfield immediately. And to survive in this system, players literally must physically transform their bodies. Take standout defensive lineman Drone Walker, for example. He took a drastic grueling approach this offseason. He shed 10 solid pounds just to hit exactly 328 on the scale. And you might be thinking, how does a defensive tackle drop that much weight while retaining the raw, brutal power needed to take on double teams? It takes strict, agonizing dieting, endless, lung-burning conditioning, and meticulously replacing bad weight with fast-twitch muscle. He intentionally stripped down his massive frame to become a leaner, faster, deadlier interior weapon, specifically tailored to execute Leonhard's highly aggressive vision.
Because of this transformation, the expectations now placed squarely on Walker's shoulders are immense. Last year, he was already a force. He posted 8 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits, 4 passes defensed, and even pulled down an interception. He secured a highly impressive 71.5 pass rush grade. Now, for an interior defensive lineman, a guy playing inside the tackles, that grade puts him in elite, top-tier territory. Think back to that divisional round game against Denver last year. Think about that specific play where Walker absolutely blew up the center off the snap, collapsed the pocket single-handedly, and forced a rushed, panic throw that led directly to a game-changing interception. Now, I want you to imagine that exact same player with that exact same power, but lighter, quicker, and operating in a defensive system that is fully designed to unleash him, rather than just asking him to absorb blocks and eat up space. The anticipation for what Walker will achieve in his sophomore campaign is absolutely off the charts. It's terrifying for opposing offenses.
But listen, the tension in Buffalo isn't just limited to the defensive side of the ball. There is a massive, incredibly high-stakes battle quietly brewing in the offensive backfield. Ray Davis, a guy who earned second-team All-Pro honors as a kick returner, is publicly and fiercely demanding more touches on offense. He suffered a drastic 55-carry drop from 2024 to 2025. They just stopped feeding him the ball as much. Yet despite seeing far less action, his efficiency actually skyrocketed. He posted a 56.9% success rate, which is more than a massive 10% jump, and he averaged a stellar 4.7 yards per carry. You really have to contrast his style with the starting running back, James Cook. Cook is the slashing perimeter speedster, he's the lightning, but Ray Davis is the thunder. He's the bruising, highly efficient, downhill punisher who makes linebackers rethink their life choices. In Jim Leonhard's complementary system where the offense absolutely needs to control the clock and keep this new aggressive defense rested, a brutal, high success rate runner like Davis is essential. With whispers floating around camp that Cook might see a limited workload to keep his legs fresh for a playoff run, Davis is waiting in the wings. He's hungry, and he is absolutely starving for those reps.
And as intense as the trenches are, there is an entirely different, deeply psychological battle happening on special teams.
We are moving now into one of the most isolating, pressurized situations in all of professional sports, the life of an NFL kicker. Tyler Bass is currently fighting for his professional life. Kickers, they live on an island. When they succeed, it's entirely expected. Nobody pats them on the back. But when they fail, it's a total catastrophe. The whole stadium turns on them. To truly understand the invisible, crushing burden Bass is carrying right now, you have to look at the harsh medical reality of a sports hernia. It is a severely painful soft tissue injury in the groin area that ultimately requires surgery to fix. Let's break down the actual micromechanics of kicking a football. A kicker relies entirely on a flawless, perfectly timed kinetic chain. The plant leg strikes the turf, anchoring the body. The hips torque with violent, twisting force, transferring incredible, explosive energy straight down into the kicking leg. A groin tear doesn't just cause blinding pain, it completely destroys that kinetic chain. It shatters the micromechanics. A millimeter off in your hip rotation means the ball misses by 10 yards. This injury threatens the very foundation of his entire career. 84.5%. That was Tyler Bass's career field goal conversion rate. He was virtually automatic. You cross the 40-yard line, you put 3 points on the board.
But as the injuries took their toll in 2024, that number dipped down to 82.8%. And then came the ultimate psychological blow from the front office. The Bills brought in 41-year-old veteran Matt Prater. Just imagine the sheer mental damage of watching a guy step in off his couch in the absolute twilight of his career and casually hit 90% of his field goals and nearly 94% of his extra points in your stadium. Prater set an impossibly high standard. Now, Bass hasn't kicked in front of the media all offseason. He is working in total isolation. The silence surrounding his recovery is deafening, and the internal pressure he faces to return to that elite automatic form before Week 1 is astronomical.
With the release of kicker Maddox Trujillo back in May, Bass is currently the sole kicker on the roster. The Bills are absolutely terrified of losing him again. They are so frantic to shield him from any further injury that they are actively looking to strip away his kickoff duties entirely. This specific role will likely shift to whoever wins the punting battle between Mitch Wishnowsky and Tommy Doman Jr. Now, why are kickoffs so dangerous compared to field goals? Because a kickoff requires a brutal, uncontrolled sprint down the field, sheer brute force behind the swing, and a violent follow-through that places immense, totally unnatural stress directly on the groin. It is a completely different animal from the controlled, rhythmic, precise three-step drop of a standard field goal. Buffalo is doing everything in their power to protect their most fragile asset, but ultimately, there's nowhere to hide. Bass will have to step onto the field when the lights are brightest, the game is on the line, and prove to the world his leg is fully healed.
But while Buffalo works to sort out their internal struggles, a massive league-wide earthquake has just struck that affects everyone.
I need you to zoom out from Buffalo with me for a moment, because we aren't just talking about a minor roster tweak anymore. We are talking about a seismic shift that is altering the entire free agent landscape right now, today. One of the absolute most lethal weapons in football is officially back in play. Read this statement from the NFL Review very carefully. Insufficient evidence to support a finding of a personal conduct policy violation. We are impartially reporting the facts here as they stand. Following a heavily scrutinized incident from December 2025, Stefon Diggs was fully cleared by the legal system this past May. And now, the NFL has officially closed its own internal investigation with no violation found. The wait is over. The red tape is completely gone. The holding pattern that the league has been in is finished.
Make no mistake about it, this clearance changes everything, and it's because of Diggs' undeniable elite production. 85 catches, 1,013 receiving yards, 4 touchdowns. That was Stefon Diggs last season with the New England Patriots, acting as the primary engine driving them all the way to a Super Bowl appearance. Let's talk about what the 32-year-old receiver actually looks like on tape today. A lot of guys lose a step in their 30s, but Diggs, his route running is still an absolute masterclass. It belongs in a museum. He is executing devastating double moves that leave defensive backs breaking their ankles. He's making perfectly timed sideline toe taps look incredibly easy. He effortlessly creates separation from cornerbacks who are literally 10 years younger than him. He isn't relying on raw, youthful speed. He's relying on a total mastery of the wide receiver position. Teams across the league were waiting in the shadows, holding their breath for the NFL's review to conclude. Now that the green light is flashing, the market is absolutely exploding.
Let's lay out the heavy hitters circling Diggs right now and analyze the hypotheticals, because the dominoes are about to fall. The Los Angeles Rams, they backed out of an A.J. Brown trade earlier due to knee concerns. Imagine, just for a second, Stefon Diggs running devastating crossing routes opposite Puka Nacua, catching passes from Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay's offense. It's cinematic. Then you have the Kansas City Chiefs. They are constantly hunting for ways to reload. The thought of Patrick Mahomes throwing deep bombs to Diggs in Andy Reid's scheme, that is a terrifying prospect that keeps rival defensive coordinators awake at night. The Washington Commanders desperately want an elite veteran safety blanket to upgrade the offense and protect their rookie quarterback. The Atlanta Falcons are aggressively pushing all their chips to the center of the table for a massive title run. And honestly, do not count out a return to the Patriots. Head coach Mike Vrabel is remaining incredibly cryptic about the situation, stating he's happy with his current receiver room, but slyly adding, "I would never say no to talent." The free agency doors haven't just opened, they have been blown wide open.
The pieces are officially on the board. The silent, grueling battles of July have set the stage for everything to come. From the agonizing physical rebirth and incredible mentorship of Bradley Chubb down in Florida, to Damone Walker's highly aggressive physical transformation in the trenches, to the isolating, silent psychological warfare currently facing Tyler Bass, all the way to the high-stakes, multi-team bidding war that is about to erupt over Stefon Diggs, the war is about to begin. Who makes the final move that tips the balance of the entire league? If you think you know exactly how this season ends based on what happened last year, you are just not paying attention. The NFL is a living, breathing machine that changes by the hour.
Thank you so much for diving deep into this analysis with me. Remember to subscribe to NFL Nexus, like this explainer, and drop a comment below on exactly where you think Diggs will land and how you think the Bills will fare in this critical season. And again, support the channel by becoming a channel member to get exclusive access to more deep dives just like this. Until next time, the clock is ticking on kickoff. Keep your eyes open.